Since we're talking about the Adafruit TRRS Trinky devices, which are really super handy, they're originally developed for assistive technology purposes. They really can be used in a number of ways, and you've seen it in some of the products I've made. It could originally it's kind of the basic is the as a switch input, so you could have one or two or three switches plugged into here through the 3.5 millimeter port, and you could have it send keys, like enter, or if you're doing scanning, you could do space enter or something like that. But I've also used it in other ways. For example, as a way of converting a analog 3.5 millimeter TRRS joystick, like is used for the PlayStation access controller, to USB. So you could use the same joystick you have either on the PS5 AC or the Xbox AC or computer. Now, keeping in mind it's only D input, it's not X input, it's D input on a computer. But if you go through the Xbox AC, it does show up as an X input because the AC shows up as X input. Anyhow, that was another use for this. I use this for my turbo buttons, so when people are playing driving games, they can hit nitro and keep their hands free. This latest iteration is for Morse code. Yes, that's right. In the 21st century, we are still using Morse code because it's really super handy. What you see it most often is in sip and puff solutions. So if a user can only interface with a sip and puff device, they could do Morse code. So they could do the dits and the das, the dot and the dash, dit da, dit da, dit da. But that same technique can be used in a two-button solution. Now I have a customer who is looking for a switch Morse code entry, and it doesn't have to measure like traditional Morse code. It's one key, so you depending on the timing of it is depending on how you get the letters created. In this situation, he's going to use two buttons, so one can be dedicated for dit and one for da, and that gets plugged into the handy little trinket. And I'm doing this in green so I could know that it's programmed differently. So this will then get plugged into the computer and act as a keyboard. So the user, if he just does one dit, that would be an E. If he did dit, 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 that would be an S. So dit, 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 da, 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 dit, 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 that would be SOS. So this is really handy for that. It handles all the alphabet, the numbers. I've got most of the punctuation in there, navigation, the arrow keys, and whatnot. The key thing with this solution is that I can make it inexpensively. The board is inexpensive, and I've got the programming done. So now, if folks wanted to try out Morse code entry, but they don't want to spend money on a big sip and puff setup, or they're just kind of dabbling with it, this is something that's going to be affordable and allow them to try that out, which I think is pretty cool. And also, the code is written so that while right now it's using these physical buttons, this could be converted over and added on to do sip and puff. And in which case, I would probably not use this particular board, but I would use one of the Cutie Pie boards because I'll need to have the sensor and all that other fun stuff in there for sip and puff. But this is coming out soon. We're putting it in trials shortly to see how it works out. One thing with this is I've done a couple of things in code. First off, you can set the timing, so the delay of when it thinks that a letter is completed, that could be set so that, like I could do an S quickly, but that's me. Not everybody could do that, so it might be, it might take 2 or 3 seconds to do that S. So there's a timer in that. I've also set it up so that each section of like letters, numbers, directional, all those could be turned on and off, so you could practice certain codes. So, for example, you could shut off everything except numbers, and then you could just practice entering numbers. Or you could practice just doing navigation without worrying about it triggering other things like the alphabet or function keys or things like that. So, and that code is going to continuously evolve as we figure out how it gets used in the real world. So, this little device will be coming soon. It's going to be priced very similarly to the other devices I have out there that use this board. And hopefully it'll help some people out.